And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app. 1090 AM, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. What else? We got it all going here on Let's Talk Hookup, man. We're live here from the world headquarters right here next to the San Diego Landings in Point Loma. Conway Bowman is here, fly fisherman extraordinaire from ConwayBowman.com.
ConwayBowman.com?
Yeah, that's just
pretty simple.
It's very simple. He goes fishing for giant mako sharks or any kind of mako shark.
Any kind of mako. They're just
it's just
giant,
all about makos.
Yeah.
You ever get blue sharks coming in there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Makos eat them, so that's
they eat them, so they don't come around too much.
Like I said, it's a tough neighborhood.
Yeah, I can imagine when the makos are hanging out.
Oh, they love eating blue sharks.
Yeah.
The coolest part about it is seeing a mako or seeing a blue shark there, because it makes you appreciate how cool that mako is in the water. The blue shark is just such a Humpty Dumpty, coming in, and then all of a sudden, like I said, it's just like seeing a fighter jet when that mako comes in. It's so cool.
And the blue sharks are my indicator that there's a mako around. Because if I have a blue shark around, they're kind of lollygagging. All of a sudden, they just split. It's like, okay,
they're here.
Mako's here. Yeah.
So
they're a good indicator.
Cool. Yeah.
Indicator species, I call them.
That's pretty cool. How long does it usually take to chum them in?
Usually 2 hours. It just depends. I mean, I've had them right on the boat like that. But this is big game hunting. That's the other thing.
Right.
We're hunting. It's like you're grizzly bear hunting with a recurve bow on Kodiak Island, waiting for that opportunity to come right in front of you.
Yeah.
So there's waiting, there's anticipation, sometimes it takes quite a while.
Preparation.
Yeah, preparation. But, I call it's hours of boredom with moments of sheer terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Hey, time to tell them what's going on, and the catch report too. Brian Willie's been standing by.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to have a great time, and it's been a great show already this morning. Another full hour coming your way. Phone lines are absolutely packed solid. If you want to get your chance to get through in the second hour, 213-432-1090 is how you do it, or keep those texts rolling in. We have so many great texts standing by, and we're going to continue to do that. And again, texting only available on the Let's Talk Hookup app. Not only your chance to talk to Conway, talk some cast hope, here's some fly fishing info, also your opportunity to win a $300 gift certificate to Costa Sunglasses. What a cool opportunity we're going to have at the end of today's show.
Yeah, we have a couple great guys standing by for the catch report here.
You got it. And our catch report today is sponsored by Terrafin Sea Surface Temperature Charts. Focus your offshore fishing in the most productive areas by using Terrafin Sea Surface Temperature, chlorophyll, currents, and more. With Terrafin Mobile, you can access the charts from your phone or any mobile device. Check Terrafin.com for more information. And we got the boss, Captain Frank Lopresti, is on the line right now. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Pete. How are you guys?
Hey, doing great, Frank. What's up?
How does fishing get any better than it is now, whether it's long range, Coronado Islands, or Cortez Bank? I mean, Jonathan Yamati's got 40-some wahoo on the boat. He's got pargo. He's got grouper. He's got tuna, 40 to 75 pounds, a few Dorado to go with it, plenty of yellowtail. How does it get any better?
Unbelievable. Wow. And that's down at Rocks in the Ridge?
Yeah, that's the Rocks in the Ridge. And you know what's going on at Cortez. How nice is that to just put your anchor down and in the dark catch yellowtail on the dropper loop on the wind, and then at daybreak catch a few on the surface iron, and then fly line for a bluefin. How much better is that?
So the bluefin's daytime fishing.
Yeah, it is.
I love that kind of fishing.
Yeah.
No, it is. In fact, Tanner yesterday had, I think, before he went home, 35 fish around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
So, no, it's the bigger fish would be at night, but up by Tanner. But anyhow, awfully good fishing. Pete, the main reason why I called is on the Shogun we have a 10-day trip that we had to cancel. So this is in October, starting October 11th. There are 2 3-dayers and a 4-dayer that are wide open. So if anybody's interested in getting on a trip in October, which looks like it's going to be great fishing, we have plenty of openings on the Shogun, and that's really what I called for, okay?
2 3-day trips and a 4-day trip in October available now on the Shogun. How often does that happen? Not very often, right?
Right, and the 4-dayer is sponsored by Seekers, so probably some goodies to go with that one.
Frank, there was one other thing that I wanted to go back. You talked about the light switch being on and all that great tuna fishing. There's something else that I know that you are really into doing also, and that is, and it's just kind of happening under the radar, is how good the local calico bass fishing has been on the dolphin afternoon half days. There has been some ridiculously good. The switch is on. I mean, it's biting everywhere. The half day boats have been coming in with 100 bass, way more released, shots at white sea bass every day, stories of guys pulling on a black sea bass and getting busted off, yellow. I mean, it's been they're under the radar has been some of the best half day fishing we've seen at the Landing all year long.
I'm glad you brought it up, Rick, because it has been phenomenal. And, I mean, several days he's had 5 yellowtail, 1 or 2 white sea bass. I talked to Jason the other day. He said the ones they're catching are legal, but he says they're busting off some of the big ones. The rent rodders usually hook those big white sea bass, and they've lost several of those, and I'm sure a couple of those were probably blacks, but awfully good fishing, whether it's morning or afternoon, okay?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fun fishing.
Well, Frank, thanks for giving us an update. Appreciate it. Great to hear from you, and we'll look forward to seeing you real soon.
Thank you for having me on, Pete and Rick. See you guys later. Take care.
Right.
Thanks.
Very good.
All right, well, let's continue with our catchboard. Head on up to Dana War Sport Fishing. We got the man, Captain Brian Woolley's on the line. What up, Woolley?
Hey, good morning, guys. Good stuff in there, man.
Sorry to leave you waiting there. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Thanks for hanging with me.
Hey, no biggie. Yeah, no worries. It's funny. Corey's talking about that trip he had up there. One of the guys that charters our boat regularly was on that same trip with Corey, Ken Kunkel, and he came back and was oozing how awesome that trip was, showing me pictures of his link cod and stuff like that. So, it was cool to see. Saw the proof, man. That stuff was legit fish for sure.
It is.
In our neck of the woods here, water temps certainly in a good little range. 71 to 73 is what we saw consistently through the week here. And with that, the bass warmed up and have been pretty hungry. So the hard bottom zones, both above and below our harbor, have been showing some good signs of some sand bass opportunities for the guys fishing the dropper loops near the bottom. Some more nice halibut in the mix for those guys too, with those baits at or near the bottom. The kelp spots, the calico bass fishing is good too, with plenty of action on the fly line live baits as well as the artificial stuff. As I kind of talked about last week, this is a perfect time to get the kids out and catch a fish. I know school here for the local kids in our neck of the woods is going back in here this next week, so you still have a day or two to get out here if you want to jump in on some of this good bass fishing that we've been having here. Over, offshore, Frank touched on this yellowtail and bluefin fishing out there on the banks. Just solid fishing out there on the anchor. Great shots at that bluefin. Excellent quality on that yellowtail for Marcus and the Fury. And then that one-day overnight stuff at Clemente with the currents right. That yellowtail's still biting over there. Good bass fishing. It's just been really good across the board. And then over at Catalina, we've had a few trips over there ourselves this week. Solid bass, bonito, and barracuda action, and some shots at some yellowtail over there as well. So things have been great. Things have been clicking here. Just can't complain about anything. It's just now is the time to go. So if you guys want to hop on a trip here, you still need to make that reservation. Give our office a call here, 949-496-5794. Of course, you can hit us on the web too, danawolf.com.
Awesome report, man. Like you said,
super good.
Switch is on, man.
Yeah.
When it's on, it's on. And boy, it's sure on out of Dana Wharf. A great report, Woolley. Sure appreciate that. Glad to hear you guys are firing on all cylinders, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, guys. Good stuff this morning. We'll catch you later. Have a good week.
Thanks, Woolley.
Appreciate that very much. All right. Hey, I guess Gundy's MIA, so that wraps up our catch report for today.
Well, you know what it is, man. The summer is here and in full swing. Check out surffishtackle.com for all of the newest in surf fishing gear, and fishthesurf.com. That's the website you go to if you want to be a better angler from the beach.
Valerie Hopridge from Queen Charlotte's Fars is listening. Hi,
hey,
Valerie.
All right.
How you doing?
Valerie?
And she said that Corey's trip is July 30th through August 3rd, and then Harold and my trip, August 3rd through the 7th. Still a few spots left on both of those trips for next summer. So if you want to go with us, call Valerie right away because they go quickly. QCSafaris.com for more information.
Just hearing Corey talk about that was just, that's it. And sign me up.
Oh,
that sounded so cool.
It's pretty special place.
When you think about all the cool fishing Corey has seen and all the fishing he's done with those MC swim baits, and to just hear him talk about that lingcod fishing and everything that goes along with it is pretty spectacular.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, hey, let's. You have a great text.
I did. Yeah, I thought it was a perfect one to jump us right back in here. It says, "Hi guys, so interesting to hear about Conway's latest venture to start the next generation of fishers off on the right foot for a lifetime of great experiences. My hat is definitely off to him and his team for such a worthwhile endeavor. Although I've done the Mako fly fishing with Conway a few times, I'd like to know if you do any other guided blue water fly fishing trips, tuna or other blue water species, etc." That's from Norm in San Diego.
Norm. Well, thanks, Norm. I am very focused on Makos. That's what I know best, and I don't. I love to fish other things, but I don't like the pressure of taking people out and targeting tuna and blue water species. However, I do have a guide I work with, Captain Greg Stutzer, who's very, very good at that.
Yeah.
He's excellent, and that's who I would have anybody interested in.
Is he out of Dana Landing also?
Yeah, he runs my boat.
Oh, he runs your boat?
He runs my boat. And he has been, he captained the Kia Kai for many years.
Oh, yeah.
And he came back to San Diego several years ago, and he and I worked together, but he takes all those blue water trips and all that other stuff.
Does he book through you?
He books through me.
So just ConwayBowman.com.
Just ConwayBowman.com.
Call Conway and just say, hey, I don't want to catch a Mako, but I want to catch tuna.
Right. And so, in my position on that is, I could take you out there, but that's not my specialty.
That's not your specialty.
I just can't.
Your deal is the Mako.
My deal is the Mako. I love hunting these things, and that's what I do.
So, and you're darn good at it too. I mean, people come from all over the world to go fishing with you.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What other fish can you fish that is an apex predator that you're getting to watch the take, sight cast, that is also in the multi-hundred pound? I mean, it is a single unique fishery.
It is. Yeah. It really is, because, big game fly fishing, typically you have to fly halfway around the world to get more to get a striped marlin, to get a blue marlin, to get a sailfish. I mean, you're traveling a long way away to do that. Whereas this fishery is unique in that these fish are relatively close. It's a short run many times. We can target them in a smaller skiff, so you're engaged with that fish. And you're fly fishing for the biggest fish you'll ever catch on a fly, and that thing jumps 20 feet in the air.
Wow. What's the season?
And I want to throw one more thing too. And you're doing it from a drifting boat.
A drifting boat.
I mean, most of those shots at big game fish, you're trolling.
That's right.
Teaser.
Yeah.
You're dropping something in the whitewash. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. It's just a quick flash. You see everything.
And I had this conversation with a guy yesterday. Once that Mako's on the boat, they don't leave. They don't spook. So if you're tarpon fishing, if you're bill fishing, those fish will come in, they get freaked out, they're gone. And now you're trolling around for the next, 8 to 10 hours for that next opportunity. This opportunity stays at the boat. Wow. So you get a shot after shot after shot. Now, that doesn't mean you're gonna hook every one of them, but at least you have the opportunity, more than one shot, to get them. Right. So the setup is perfect.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And the season,
so mid-April all the way through the end of October.
Wow.
So it's a relatively long season.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really very.
And is it weather dependent? I mean, you're not going to go out there and go out when it's bumpy or windy or.
Well, if it's small craft, no. But honestly, that early season, April, May, June, we sort of
wind. Yeah.
But honestly, that's really great, because it helps me out cover a lot more water in terms of my drifting. So you want current. You want to be able to cover as much water as possible.
Yeah.
But honestly, those kind of nasty conditions are actually pretty good. Just like any big game fish, right? Marlin, they kind of like that.
They like that
more,
chop.
That chop. That chop is a layer of protection for them, so they become more aggressive.
Yeah. You had a pretty special guy on the boat yesterday.
Nick Curcione.
Nick Curcione.
Wow, that's cool.
And you said he's 80 now?
81.
81.
He's
still a stud.
Still a stud. Still a great stick. He's the guy who got me into this, and I owe so much to him. And it's always great to get him out on the boat. Not only the stories, but the knowledge that he imparts on me. It's unreal. So to have him tie into a 300-pound Mako shark like we did yesterday was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's the greatest. So it's sort of like I get to take my Muhammad Ali, the guy who I idolize, and I get to sit on the boat with him and watch him cast to this wonderful fish that he targeted back in the 70s.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
He's an amazing guy.
So funny.
Good to know he's still rolling.
Oh, yeah. And still... He's
still cracking you up.
He's like a bumblebee in a honey jar, man. He just flies. He's got so much energy. It's
gotta
great.
love it.
Yeah,
cool.
It's great. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, with that, we're going to find out what's going on the water. It is time for our FishDope.com report, and we want to say a big, huge thanks to a great partner, and that's Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena. This is the place to fill up your car, your truck, your boat with the lowest gas and diesel prices. Did you know that Summit is also the place to get the lowest prices on ice and snacks for your trip? 25 cents for your first 5-pound bag of ice, or $3.99 for 25 pounds, and that's as many as you want. That's half the price of the others. Plus, you get 100 pounds of ice for free with a 35-gallon fill. They have Kirkland products lower than the prices of the store that makes them. Dozens of great snacks for just 89 cents. So much more at Summit Gasoline. Free ice for Let's Talk Hookup listeners, and always the lowest prices at the San Diego Sports Arena. And wow, what a guest!
Whoa, are you
what a
kidding
guest
me?
treat that we have today. Speaking of FishDope.com, we got the man that pours his blood, sweat, and tears into it, and that's Danny from Fish Dope giving us the report today in place of our normal Anglers Realtor Youssef. What's up, Danny? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I hope I can do this already. Yeah. Anyway.
This is what you do every day, Danny, is tell people where to go fishing, right?
Let me give you a pointer. Just tell us where to go.
Yeah, except I don't do it talking live on the radio.
Oh, buddy, you do a great job.
So, Brian and Frank covered a bunch of stuff already, so maybe I'll just cover what they didn't. There's halibut and squid and betchers up at Rosa, but if the wind's blowing, But it wasn't yesterday, in spite of that small craft advisory. It was glass, and at least one boat got in there and whacked them. It's good fishing. Santa Cruz Island, that Barracuda bite slowed down, but it's still decent for those that want to target it. About the boats pretty much are passing it up now. I'll skip over to San Clemente Island. There's one thing that Brian didn't talk about. There's squid at the dunes, and there's also sea bass on it that are biting before the sun comes up. Once the sun comes up, go somewhere else. The front side's been good for yellowtail as long as there's current. Skip Dana Point, Willie had that, and down Imperial Beach still got a bunch of sand bass in the mud. We haven't seen sand bass in the mud for years, and they've been biting really good there. Let's skip offshore. Our spotter plane was up on Friday, and he found absolute tonnage of bluefin between the 7-11 and the Snail. He said almost all of them were 200-pound class fish.
Wow.
He did not see it on his first pass over in the morning. When he came back through it in the afternoon, they were up all over the place. Yesterday, guys didn't catch in the morning, but they did late in the day, and it's no doubt it has to do with the moon phase. I wouldn't be even looking at this stuff until afternoon right now. And there's something else interesting there. There's a whole bunch of Rizzo dolphins in that area. Rizzos eat squid. They live on squid. They don't eat much of anything else. That means there's squid in the area, and that means these tuna are not going anywhere. So
I love it.
Yep.
Danny, I love it. You did a great job, man. Nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're the guy with the best source of info in town, man.
Yeah.
Nothing. You did a fantastic job, and boy, some really, really good fishing to be had right now. It's great.
And $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, lowercase, no space. You get all of Danny's information that he works 724 gathering at your fingertips. Fishdope.com is your source. And Danny, we sure appreciate you filling in for Joseph this week, and hopefully you'll come back real soon.
Yeah, that was great.
I'll be doing it next week, too. Yusuf is having surgery.
Okay,
hey, buddy.
All right. Well, good luck, Joseph, and for sure we'll talk to you next Sunday.
Yeah, right on, Danny. All right, that's going to wrap up our Catch Report again, sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get a premier processing experience. Check out the brand new and easier online system to book your processing orders for your long-range trips. Now with more team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity, the finest customer service. Stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street, or check fishermansprocessing.com and be sure to make your reservation today.
Hey, phones are packed up. They want to talk to Conway, so let's jump into it, Rick.
Vinny from Carlsbad is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hey, Vinny.
What's Vinny?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, question for Conway. Can you kind of describe what like a typical day looks like? Is it just you and the angler, and what do you need to bring? Do you bring your lunch? Is it just sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses, and a smile? And what does a typical day look like at start to finish?
Great question.
So that is a great question. So I'm not really an early starter. So typically I leave the dock at 9 o'clock, Dana Landing, right there. And all you have to bring is a fishing license, get your lunch at that great deli at Dana Landing, and I've got everything else. I've got all the tackle. I don't expect people to have this sort of fly tackle. We fish 8 hours, so we're back at the dock about 5:30. So 9 to 5:30.
Gentleman hours.
And so it's great but I need the visibility. You need the high sun to see the fish. So it's kind of nice. So it's not.
So it's all sight fishing.
It's all sight fishing. Yeah. Wow. So you're not blind casting. We don't make a cast until we see a fish.
Wow.
So I will take you through casting, the fundamentals of casting, what I need you to do to set the hook, fight the fish, and then we wait. And sometimes you wait quite a while, but if you're patient, and that's one thing you need to bring is patience. Patience. If you're patient, you potentially could see the greatest fish of your life. So, and that's it. And it's a great day, and it's not a lot of action sometimes. Yesterday we were out. We had a fish an hour, and we were out for 8 hours. Wow. And that's not too bad. That's a pretty darn good day of fishing. But we waited.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not like going out and catching barracuda, bonita, that kind of stuff. But this is big game hunting.
Big game.
Yeah, this is big game hunting. So if you're a hunter, and hunters understand this, you sit and wait for that opportunity to swim right by the boat, and then you have your shot. Yeah. Because once they're there, they don't leave.
Yeah. That's cool. I remember the one time I went big game hunting. It was with Harold Davis for elk up in Utah, and we waited for 3 days and never got one.
Yeah.
So that happens, right?
That happens. Yeah. So you rarely. I mean, I do get blank days. I do.
It
happens. However, it's not often, but it does happen. And most people that book with me will book 3 days because they know the game. Yeah. They know that, okay, so you're going to have a day where the fish just disappear, the water changes, or you just can't find them. But you give me 2 extra days, we're probably going to find them.
Yeah. Cool. So you just heard Danny referring to the full moon. Does that affect the fishing?
I used to think that does. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it may. I tend to find fish are more aggressive around a new moon, and they're a little more lethargic around a full moon. But I don't know. All I know I don't get really hung up on that anymore. I just go out and fish. For me, it's more about current. It's about having the right amount of current and having the right amount of food item, in the area where I'm fishing, and that's it.
You spend so much time, like you said, drifting, watching, waiting. What are some of the things that you've seen outside of shark? I mean, I'm sure there've been spots of tuna or spots of whatever. Like, you spend enough time keyed in, staring at the water, like. Other things are bound to come by you over the years. What have been some of the highlights?
So yesterday we had 2 striped marlin.
Come on.
Yep. They jumped right in front of the boat. Yep.
Really?
It was unbelievable. And I saw it off La Jolla on, I think it was last Sunday. I had a striped marlin up there too. Cool. So that happens this time of year quite often. Blue whales. They've come up so close to my boat. The finbacks. I mean, obviously porpoise. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you see out there. So it's, and that's a great thing. Back to Cast Hope. So we take our kids out and we do shark observation trips. So we're not even fishing. We're bringing those sharks to the boat and they get to engage with that fish right there and they get to see it. They don't get to see it on Shark Week through a TV. They get to be on the boat, and that's the real Shark Week. But in addition to that, they're seeing whales, they're seeing porpoise, they're seeing how the relationship, how to identify birds, and then those birds lead to something else, and those birds can lead to that whale, and then that, so we're connecting all the dots in nature for these kids. So it's a cool experience.
That's awesome. It's really cool. Hey, I just want to do a shout out to Jim in Huntington Beach. He's giving me some input on the audio on our YouTube and Facebook. He says we're way overmodulated. So working on it, Jim, and keep those comments coming because we're trying to figure this whole thing out.
Totally.
I'm not an expert, but I'm learning. Yeah, but it's kind of cool. We had several thousand people watching it yesterday. So
that's awesome. That's really cool.
It's pretty exciting to be able to kind of have a different source to do it, but we're just kind of taking baby steps here, figuring it all out. So I'm open for all input.
Well, this is good input from a gentleman who sent us a text. He said, "Good morning, guys. I absolutely love the new YouTube feed. This will be how I watch from here on out. I have some older Penn Jigmaster and 4.0s with Tiburon frames. My question is going back to yesterday. Would those be appropriate for Friends of Rollo donation?" Absolutely. That is the perfect setup for a Friends of Rollo donation. You have probably replaced that with new Trinidads and new Toriums. Still great reel, still viable for somebody. Take those things in, bring them to Fisherman's Landing, bring them to Dana Landing, bring them to wherever is close to you, and get them dropped off for Friends of Rollo. They'll make a few bucks with them, and away you go.
All right. Pretty cool. Hey, this is a question. He says, Corey and Escondido, our good buddy. By the way, Corey's son-in-law, Cody, is the one that helped me get this set up on YouTube and Facebook. So thanks to Cody for that, and thanks to Corey for introducing me to his great son-in-law, too. He says, the Facebook and YouTube live channels are awesome game changers. Congratulations. Quick question for Conway. I live near Lake Hodges, but have not fished there yet. Can I get out on Hodges with my Hobie kayak, and any tips to get some fish there?
Yeah, you can launch.
You know every inch of that.
I know every inch of it. You can get out, and it's Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. I think they're closed on the second or third Wednesday of each month. But you can launch a kayak there. This time of year, the fishing can be a little bit persnickety because the water's warm. But I will tell you, the fall bite there is going to be really great.
Really,
the water level elevation is low because they're having issues with the dam. They have to keep the elevation low, but fishing's still great. And I mean,
fish are more concentrated.
They haven't had a sort of a fish die off like they had historically. Like that lake would roll over and a lot of the oxygen levels would get depleted and they would have a die off. But that hasn't happened since they put in this oxygenation station down by the dam. So great volume of bait in there. One tip about Hodges, it's a low light fishing lake. So early in the morning, late in the evening.
Okay.
And that is when you want to fish it.
Early in the morning. And can you launch kayak there?
You can launch kayak there, yes.
Yeah.
Go do it. Typically the fall bite there is very, very good. And one of my favorite spots is along that shoreline, the north shoreline that goes down past Hernandez Hideaway all the way to the dam.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. And it's still very good. And even the Narrows over by the boat dock in the Narrows there can be great. But remember, low light. Early morning, late evening. I prefer late evening. So, yeah.
There you go.
Still a great lake.
Boy, that's some tips for you.
Insider tips. Yeah, no there's some big fish in that lake.
Very large bass. Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
The fish are biting and it's time to go. Hi, this is Ben, and you will see me at my dad's shop, Dana Landing in Mission Bay, or maybe in front of the shop on my kayak. It doesn't matter if you are out there on a kayak with me, on your boat, headed out on a sport boat. Dana Landing has everything you need. We call it the one-stop shop for a great day on the water because it truly is. Food, bait, tackle, beverages, and more. Our tackle shop, headed by John, is certainly one of the best. For freshwater tackle, nothing beats East County Bait and Tackle. These guys have the best rods and reels and the hottest lures and live bait. Our newest shop is Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle with a great stock of both fresh and saltwater tackle right in the heart of Lemon Grove. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Mapleview and Lakeside. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, 94 to Broadway in Lemon Grove, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. Check out DanaLanding.com for more details.
Hey, this is Rosie with Cedros Sport Fishing. We have always been the leader with all-inclusive fishing trips to Cedros Island. We now have 2 lodges to choose from, and both sit on the cliff's edge with relaxing ocean views and gorgeous morning sunrises. With direct flights departing to the CBX in San Diego, we are committed to providing first-class service to our guests and an unforgettable fishing experience. Come check out the yellowtail and calico bass capital in the world. Nobody does it better than Cedros Sport Fishing. Call me at 619-772-7570 or check us out at cedrosportfishing.com. Book soon. Trips are going fast.
For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com.
Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. My spot is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. Rockcod Rick here to say if you're looking for the ultimate Alaska experience and the best value in Alaska, it's Kingfisher Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food, world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher, and they all can't wait to go back. Most Alaska resorts make big promises and they don't deliver, or they'll nickel and dime you to drive up the cost. But not Kingfisher. Everything is included. Your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me. Book your trip to Kingfisher Charters and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com. Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup here. Pete, you'd mentioned yesterday how successful Rod a Week had been, and Tim Baker was staying really busy.
Right.
Mike Lum sent me a really cool text this morning that I wanted to read, and it said, hey, I wanted to share a story. We had a gentleman buy tickets this morning who said many years ago he took his son on a 5-day trip on the Royal Polaris when Brian and Rollo were both working on the deck. His son's very first tuna was a handoff from Rollo on a Harnell, likely Brian's rod that's being given away today. Or be giving away part of this promotion for the Rod a Week promotion from Friends of Rollo. How cool is that?
How cool is that? Yeah. That's pretty cool story. And if you want to buy Rod a Week tickets, Tim Baker's standing by right now. Rod a Week is going on right now, and it's 951-264-7382, or you can email him at win@rollokids.org and get that out there. Also, I want to remind you, too, this week's edition of Western Outdoor News has the big Cabo Tuna Jackpot feature in there, and that's coming up really, really, really soon. And, of course, Western Outdoor News shows up some big fish that have been around.
That's awesome.
Some giant fish.
Is that a big bluefin? I can see the glare there. Oh, yeah, nice
sure.
one.
Actually, that's a big yellowfin, I think, in Cabo.
Oh, yeah, look at those big sickles. There you go.
Yeah, big one. So, and the other thing, too, on the back of Western Outdoor News, the Yamaha has introduced that new 350 six-cylinder inline.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lightest 350 ever made. And certainly it's a 4.3-liter V6 offshore 350 that's now available from Yamaha. So check that out in Western Outdoor News. Valerie Hoperich is listening. Thank you, Valerie. And she has a question for Conway about salmon sharks and mako sharks, and I'll bring it up here. It says, Chris's boat, which is one of her guides, landed a blue shark and a salmon shark, and I wonder if Conway has ever caught a salmon shark. All the sharks were released, but the guests had a blast bringing them in.
I've never caught a salmon shark, and I saw one wash up on the beach probably 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So was that caught locally here?
No, up at Queen Charlotte's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Way up there. And they're a relative of the mako shark.
They are.
Very close.
They're in the salmon shark family. So it's salmon sharks, poor beagles, great whites, and makos. They're all in the same family.
In the same family.
But I think Prince William Sound, that area is loaded with salmon sharks. But, they're an amazing fish.
They look a lot like a mako.
Yes, they do.
When you see them, it's like, that's a mako.
They're really cool.
It's a salmon shark.
Yeah.
But it's Very close relative.
Very close relative.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal a question for myself. You had mentioned how Mako sharks have a pretty soft take on the fly.
Yes.
You have done a tremendous amount of fly fishing around the world. What's the coolest take outside of a Mako? I know that's where your passion lies, but got to strike that one off. What's the coolest take of fly fishing that you've got to do from all your exploits around the world?
The most aggressive is a giant trevally.
Okay.
Those things.
Giant trevally?
Yes, GTs. And they are violent. They come in and they'll actually they want to bite you. And so that take is violent. The initial run is lightning speed. The thing is, if you keep enough pressure on them, they give up. After a really long run, they kind of relax, and then you can get them in fairly quickly. But man, that initial take, and a lot of times it's right in front of your feet. It's right at the rod tip.
When you're running out of room.
Oh yeah, and then it's like somebody just throws a 10-gallon bucket right in front of you, and they just swipe around, and they immediately move away from you. They're gone. They're the coolest. And you're catching them in 3 feet of water, gin clear water, and they're right there.
Where his dorsal fin is, if he's standing up straight, he's dry.
They look like it's hard to explain. I remember I was walking the flats in Christmas Island, and I had some bonefish in front of me. And all of a sudden the bonefish split, and I looked down, and at my left heel there was a 100-pound GT following me.
Come on.
So he was using
you, yeah.
To get, it was and they have absolute no fear. They are the coolest fish. They are just killer. Yeah, I love them.
They're amazing creatures.
They are.
Yeah. That's why you have to release them.
They're the top dog on the flats. They're
the top dog wherever they're at. You know what I mean? Like, think about the other things, like on reefs and things that are so shark infested or whatever. Like, those things don't give they're the junkyard dog, man. Nobody's messing with that.
They are the pit bull.
Yeah,
and
totally.
they'll chase off a bull shark. They are killer. I love them.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's jump back on the phones, Rick.
You got it. How about this time we talked to Justin? He's called us from Arcadia this morning. Justin, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. It's actually Lucadia, but I've fished with Conway and also done some filming with him. And I just wanted to I've experienced the hours of wait and moments of terror in his very small boat. But Conway, why have you chosen that boat? And just tell us a little bit about the intimacy of it and why you keep going with that one.
So the boat it's a bay boat, so it fits. And thanks for reaching out, Justin. It sits very low to the water, and so large predators. They don't want they feel threatened if something's like towering over them. So if you're fishing a large, like a Mako shark in a boat with a big tower, they come in much deeper. My boat sits right on the water, and I really honestly think they think it's a food item. They think it's you have chum coming off of it. It sits low to the water. It's not a threat to them. And even I've had center consoles with T-tops on them. Sometimes the fish come in deeper with that. My boat doesn't have a T-top. It's almost like a gigantic flats boat. And I had a sort of this reckoning. I was cleaning the bottom of the boat earlier this summer, and I'm cleaning, and I kind of kick out, and I'm looking at the starboard rail, and I'm looking. The perspective is in the water. My head's above the water, and I'm like, this is why a Mako shark thinks this is something to eat, because it looks like a swordfish. And it's not threatening. So I'm in the water with the shark's perspective looking up. I'm like, that's why. And when they approach the boat, they typically approach it from the stern.
From the stern.
Exactly. It is the craziest thing. So the smaller boat is not a threat, even to small Makos, and they charge that thing, and they want to attack it.
Yeah. So you think if you were in a bigger boat, there would be less?
Well, I've fished them out of larger boats, and the larger center consoles, or even the sort of more of like a sport fisher
style.
They come in deep, and they're a little more cautious.
Interesting.
When they come into my boat, oftentimes they are not cautious. They want to attack it. Yeah. And Justin, you've seen that many, many times, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. That's cool. 213-432-1090. JP's standing by. Thanks, JP, for being there today. You're extraordinary. We appreciate your help for sure. I started reading this text, and I went, wait a minute, this guy knows something about fly fishing, obviously, because of this text. And then I read down, and it's my fishing buddy from Cascade, Montana, Chris Scott.
Hey.
And so nice to hear from you, Chris. And he says, regarding fly line management when Mako shark fishing, what are the common mistakes anglers make once the shark is hooked, and how can an angler prepare themselves to help prevent that from occurring.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
You were right about that text.
When somebody, and anybody that's fly fished before knows line management, whether you're catching a big trout in Montana or especially when you're catching a giant mako shark, is a big deal.
It is, and if you have improper line management, that line can wrap around your leg, and now you have a very large game fish running away from the boat, right? So that fly line will wrap around your leg, and that's not good. But the thing is, a common mistake people make is they strip off way too much line off the reel. The cast we're making is 25 to 30 feet, and that's all you need out there. I'll get some anglers, they want to strip off 50 feet of line, which you don't need. So you want to have a short leash. You want to have just the right amount of line out with nothing on the deck. Because when a mako shark realizes it's hooked, it's moving away from the boat at 30 miles an hour.
And you're not stopping it.
And you're not stopping it. And you don't want that line flying up and wrapping around your leg, your hand, or even the butt of the rod. Okay? That's it. And so the other thing is setting the hook. And people don't quite realize that when you set the hook, you really have to set the hook.
Because they're pretty hard jaw.
Very. And even in that soft corner of their mouth, you have to drive that hook in. So a common mistake people make is they don't set it hard enough. They think they're hitting it as hard with maximum pressure because all they've ever caught is a trout or a salmon. No. You have to swing on them very hard.
And swing on them.
You strip strike to rod tip, rod tip at the fish, and then once you come tight, then you swing on them. And that drives that hook into the corner of the mouth. And once they feel that, then they're out of there. But a lot of times people just don't understand how powerful you have to be in setting that hook. So that's a common mistake.
And the types of normally a fly rod isn't a very good rod to set the hook, but the rods you use are powerful enough that they can drive that hook.
They are. So they have a softer tip, so you can cast, but then that tapers very quickly to a very stiff butt section.
So once you raise that rod and really swing on it,
exactly, you're driving that hook in.
It gets that hook in there.
What hooks are you tying your flies with?
So I'm using they're Gamakatsu and anyway, they're the 10-aught, they're the finer gauge hooks. I don't know what they are. Great hook, they're really nice. But I experiment with mustache. I use all kinds of different hooks.
That Gamakatsu nice just because that's such a sharp,
super sharp
point, gets into them easy.
Yeah.
Doesn't have like you said, you're fishing barbless. I was just going to say they've got a very appropriate size barb, not giant that it's difficult to get it into, but you're getting rid of that completely.
Yeah, I just pinched that down.
Cool.
But that's the thing. So, people don't understand how to set the hook. And I get it. I mean, you're fly fishing. I mean, you're typically, you don't have to set the hook really hard.
And when you're new, you're enamored. This giant thing is coming in and you're watching the whole show. Like this whole show that we've been talking about, you're so fascinated seeing this fish come to boat and then you watch the take. Like sometimes it's not easy to get back to remembering mechanics either.
Right. It's sort of like, walking through the forest and all of a sudden there's a grizzly bear right in front of you. It's like, oh boy.
There he is.
So if you've never experienced that, I can't expect you to actually be able to set the hook right off the bat. But the great thing is you're going to get more opportunities because the shark doesn't leave. They just hang around the boat. So
yeah, that's cool. For sure. You have a good one.
I thought so. Yeah, it says,
great question.
Conway, can you go over a little bit on? He says, I'm loving this. By the way, can you go over what methods you use to bring the makos to the boat? Also, have you ever had any encounters with thresher sharks up at your boat? Lastly, what are the water conditions that you prefer the most? That's all from Jim in San Diego.
Okay, so 95% of the time I'm chumming these fish to the boat. So I'm using tuna, and I'm just putting it in I've got a bucket, and I just chum. And that's basically it, finding the right area, the right edge, the right water temp, the right conditions, setting that chum slick, and just waiting. And you wait. And, you need current, you need wind on it. Slick glass conditions are not great. Sharks are really cautious. You may see them finning, but they oftentimes won't come to the boat. Now, on those slick glass days, that's when you can go out and target them without chum. You can sight fish to them like tarpon. And that happens usually around a full moon in August and September, and it's a really cool way to do it.
That's cool.
But you can't bank on that all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was the other question?
If you ever had a thresher come up while you're sitting doing the mako thing.
I have had threshers, and they're the coolest shark, but they're very shy. They come up, and they look and then leave, and they're really
they would never take the flight.
No, well, they might. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't. But they're such a passive shark. They're very graceful when they move through the water. Yeah, they're not aggressive. You could, but I have had them several times come through the slick. Yeah.
That's awesome. If you throw a mackerel out there, he'd probably eat it.
He probably would. Yeah.
But that's not your deal.
Yeah.
Hey, another shark question from Christian Rancho Santa Margarita. He says, so I used to see blue sharks quite often. I can attest to that. I don't see them much. Do you see them, and what happened to them? It's a good question.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
You're right. When I first started doing this, you saw a lot of blue sharks.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there were blue sharks everywhere.
I think it's just a change in the water temperatures. We see a lot of blue sharks in the early spring here. And
see a lot of little ones too.
Little ones. So I don't know. I just don't. Although I've seen more this year than I have in recent years. So maybe they're coming back, but it's cyclical. I think they move in and out. If the conditions are right, they're around. But I do remember years ago you had tons and tons of blue sharks. Now we're not seeing as many. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question.
How much do the kids from Cast Hope freak out? And I mean that in the good way. I mean like the freak out on how cool this is when they see the shark type things you're talking about. I know that you guys do all types of things, but you're talking about the kids seeing the shark thing. Like that's just got to be the most exhilarating thing to have happen with the kids on board.
It's unbelievable because they're engaged with that shark right at the boat, and they can. I mean, if they wanted, they could go down and pet the shark, which we don't let them do. But to watch that shark swim around the boat and then watch it engage, like we'll demonstrate predatory behavior. So we have a teaser, like a mackerel stuffed inside of a marlin skirt, and we'll say, okay, so you see the shark now, and then they're kind of mellow, and then we'll say we're going to turn on the predatory light switch. So we'll throw that mackerel out, and then the mako will lock in on it, and then we'll start reeling it back to the boat, and then they're like a jet fighter trying to attack that mackerel. So we go from 0 to 60, and we show them how they hunt, how they attack their prey, and the kids are just watching it right in front of the boat.
Wow.
And when
how many kids do you have out on the boat when you do that?
We'll take 4 kids.
4 kids,
yeah.
Nice.
It's me and Captain Greg Setzer, and it's really cool. And so Greg's great because he makes them. He talks about the biology of the shark. He talks about the caudal peduncle, why that's really important for speed and acceleration. Their eyes, why they're set forward.
Yeah.
So he takes them through the whole thing on why that is the ultimate predator. So kids get off that boat and they go watch Shark Week and they're like, wow,
I know all that.
I know that, and I was actually on the boat and I saw that.
So let's talk again about Cast Hope as we running short on time here. So Cast Hope, how do you find the kids again?
So we work with some of the school districts around town. We're working with the military. We're working with law enforcement agencies. Any city organization that has youth programs that we can kind of tap into.
Yeah. So what about like somebody listening that's like says, well, I have some military kids I know.
For this,
can it call you and say, hey man, I got the perfect kid here?
Absolutely. So this show is a perfect.
So do they have to be kids that don't get opportunities like this? Is it kind of underprivileged kids or something like that, or is it anybody?
It's more at-risk kids. But
at-risk
you know
kids.
what?
Okay.
You go to the website, you fill out an application. We'll review the application. And we don't turn kids away. We can't do that because as I said, every kid to some degree is at risk.
I loved
right?
what you said that earlier. Yeah, exactly.
We can't marginalize even at risk kids because every kid
is, whether they come from Rancho Santa Fe or from
exactly
wherever.
Now, you're right. So there's always we'll look at the application and we'll assess it. But I'm telling you, the opportunity to get a kid and a mentor. Out fishing, out in the outdoors is critical. It doesn't matter where you are, what socioeconomic level you are, and it builds a great foundation for life. And not only for the kids, but also for the mentors. They're engaging with that kid, and those are memories they're going to have forever.
Yeah.
Right.
So casthope.org.
Casthope.org. Yeah.
Casthope, and so you can fill out CAST like a cast.
Yeah. So you can go to the website. Fill out the application, and the website details everything that we do, and we just want to get you on the water.
And if you want to learn more about Cast Hope, come next Saturday to AleSmith, right?
Come to AleSmith for the cornhole.
And AleSmith is where again?
It's in Kearney Mesa.
It's in Kearney Mesa, yeah. Great spot.
It's a great spot.
Yeah. And you're going to have a cornhole tournament. And then if you don't want to play cornhole, you can just
eat great food, drink great beers,
and support the cause.
That's right.
The most important
That's right.
thing,
right. And get into the silent auction. We've got great auction items.
Yeah.
Too.
Like what? Like what are you doing?
If I went through my
you said Yeti went. You said Yeti really.
Yeti loaded me. My garage looks like.
You're like a Yeti cover boy.
Right.
You know, that's like
my garage looks like Dick's Sporting Goods right now. It's loaded with Yeti. But we have stuff for not only for the outdoor person, fisherman and hunter, but we have stuff for I see a lot of ladies walking around with the Yeti stuff, the great totes, the wine coolers, all that. So we have all these auction items that are appropriate for everyone, not just fishermen, but everybody who's going to the beach, who's going to soccer, whatever. And then we have great fishing stuff. We have some trips we're auctioning off, and then Sean Stiles is going to have this great dinner for 8.
How cool is that?
So it's going to be great.
Rad.
Yeah. At his house?
At a friend's house. That's in Escondido, which is insane. Overlooks Lake Hodges. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
how fun is that? So this is again next Saturday evening.
Saturday evening, 6 p.m. AleSmith cornhole tournament. $175 for a team. Or it's $50 just to come in and eat and drink some beer. And
so a team is 2?
2. Yep.
Yeah. So the $175 per couple, or if you bring a buddy or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
And register through the casthope.org website. So you'll
register.
You go to the events
Buy
page.
your tickets there.
Buy your tickets there, yeah.
For whether you're just coming for hanging out or whatever.
Yep.
All right. Hey, you have another one you want to join us with there, Rick?
For sure. I mean, they're so difficult. There's so many great texts here. This is morning, guys. Conway, can you run through a little bit what a mako fly looks like? Are you trying to mimic something that he eats, or are you trying to mimic something that they're upset with? That's from Bob and Maggie that are at Palmas de Cortez right now.
All right.
Kind of both. So my flies, I honestly think they look like seabirds. They're these really big, puffy flies that float on the surface. And over the years, I've observed makos chase down birds in a chum slick. So I kind of went to that, and they like them. They like them. And I think they think it's a food item, but it's also irritating because I've seen them chase, storm petrels and phalaropes out of a chum slick because they're in their zone.
Sure.
So they get ticked off at them. So that's the.
And you tie them yourself.
Yeah, I tie them myself. So that's the evolution of the shark fly. So it's it might be food, but also they're ticked off at.
On your Instagram, do you show the fly?
Yeah, you can see it. They're just big orange and red flies, big poppers.
Yeah. And what do you chum with?
Just tuna. Yeah.
Just tuna.
Just tuna. I just use tuna. Yeah.
Just chunking it?
No, not even that. In fact, you rarely see the chunks coming out of the bucket. It's the scent in the water that counts. It's not like Jaws where you're dumping a bunch of blood in the water.
So you just have like some chunks of tuna in a bucket with holes in it.
Yeah, and then I've got a PVC masher, and I just kind of mash it once in a while. That's it.
It's truly a slick.
It doesn't take much.
Doesn't take much, and that's a lot of people over chum. If they're in the area, they're going to find it.
Yeah, right.
And then they find you, and then
because they have like the most incredible senses of any creature on Earth.
Yeah. So, but it's finding the right location. That's the key.
That's the key. So. And what's the right location? Water temperature.
Top of the 9 Mile Bank.
Oh, you're letting your secrets out.
Kinda. Not really. Yeah. They're around.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to find out what lucky caller or texter is going to win themselves a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
Offshore fishing is on. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. For bluefin tuna and yellowtail, nothing beats the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever-drag 2-speed reels. Shimano's Speedmaster 2 is also an extremely durable, high-performance lever-drag reel for the more budget-minded angler. Both the Talica and Speedmaster 2 feature Shimano's Hagani body to prevent misalignment of moving parts under the heaviest of loads. For all your Shimano, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels, too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore, with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check PowerPro.com.
Hey, San Diego, the Make It Ford Summer Sales event is on. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now and make it your best summer yet. Amazing offers and great selection of Ford vehicles, like the Built Wild Bronco family, with a deal you just can't miss. Your biggest adventures are awaiting. Make it Ford, make it yours, make it now. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers, they'll be glad to hook you up. Give your boat the love it deserves and install a custom C-Deck kit from Blue Seas Fabrication. Blue Seas is the West Coast's only certified C-Deck fabricator and installer. C-Deck upgrades the look and feel of any boat, old or new. C-Deck non-skid decking adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication custom fit your deck, bridge, and interiors with stylish, durable, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean C-Deck. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. It is time. Conway's going to do us the honors and flip that prize coin there. We'll see if we have a caller or texter winning this great...
Here it goes.
Let's do it, buddy. Today we have a texter. So, Pete, you have the info.
It's Chris in Montana.
Hey!
How about that?
There you go, Chris.
Listening to us from Cascade, Montana. Congratulations.
Let's go
Chris.
Shark fishing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you got a new Barracosis coming your way, Chris.
Hey, Conway, how do we get a hold of you? How do we get involved in Cast Hope?
Casthope.org. Go to the website, check it out, and it's got all the info. And then me, ConwayBowman.com.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was
Love you guys.
Such a great show. Thanks for coming in this morning. Right. And thank you all for watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Let's Talk Hookup radio show on both of those, and of course on 1090 AM, and most importantly, our Let's Talk Hookup app. Thanks to JP, the extraordinary engineer that took care of us today without a flaw today. Thank you very much,
Great
JP,
job, buddy.
for that. We'll be back next, and of course, don't forget Adam. Adam does the extraordinary job on our app. Next Saturday, Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, Wayne Cotto from CCA on Sunday. So that's going to be a couple great shows. We'll see you next week, right back here